Hello, Steve White, TrekBoy89 for SteveArts89. Well, Paramount has released some news on the next Star Trek film. They released a release schedule for films in the next couple of years, going to 2023. And on June 9, 2023, they have announced a untitled Star Trek movie. That's what it just says. June 9, 2023, untitled Star Trek movie. That's it. Now, when they were contacted by TrekMovie.com, they said that it would be produced by J.J. Abrams. So that's the bad news. The good news is, in theory, they have enough confidence in Star Trek to make a movie, even though the last film lost money and the TV shows aren't making money. The fan base is dwindling and the merchandising is dwindling and everything's going downwards, nothing's going up. Overall, the franchise is looking worse than it has in decades. But the worst news is that J.J. Abrams would be producing, because if you know anything about the contracts, they were contracted to do 3 films. That ended. They had to extend that period because they ran so far behind on 2 of the films that they went outside of the period that they were actually contracted to do the 3 films in. So they extended it, which then caused problems for the TV shows because they had a no-compete clause and a lot of drama there. But just in relation to the movie, Paramount doesn't have to make a movie with them. They can make their own movie. They can go off with anyone else they want and make a Star Trek movie. They don't have to work with JJ again. JJ's been trying to get back in there to get that sweet, sweet contract where he just gets paid to make Star Trek movies, whether they make money or not, and every 3 years or whatever. And they don't have to get back in bed with him. I don't want them to get back in bed with him. None of the fans want them to get back in bed with him. But from the sounds of it, I don't know, because we don't know what film this is. Is it the original Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, Daddy Kirk, Baby Kirk that they were going to do with time travel? Is it the Tarantino film version of A Piece of the Action, which I can't even say without cringing? The Noah Hawley original Star Trek film that was going to be an original crew and original story and almost like a reboot and getting really far away from the established characters, which the studio didn't want to do? Or is it the Kalinda Vasquez story? Apparently she had an original story and they're looking at going with that. That was the last thing we heard, which was last month. So what is this? Is it one of those films? Is it just part of our overall plan to just have a film out at that point and have no idea which one it's going to be or what they're going to do or who's going to do it? But they did say JJ would produce it, but who said that? Is that someone in JJ's camp? Is that someone associated with JJ who just wants to try and get talk out there that he's going to be doing another Star Trek film, whether he is or not? Or is it legitimately someone who knows that they've talked to him and it's happening again? Because I really don't want him signing up again. Because if he signs up, it won't just be for one film. It'll be for at least 3, which means a decade, which means another decade of JJ-verse films with no logic, no story, no characterization, just a whole bunch of fast-moving action and clever dialogue and just Earth-based terrorism, dark, depressing, no explorating space, no aliens, no boldly going anywhere, just staying on Earth, fighting terrorists with superpowers, basically, which is what they try to turn Kirk and that into, having Spock fighting Khan, like a couple of superheroes, having Kirk, flying through space. They just all these other things from other movies like Star Wars and Marvel, they're trying to force into Star Trek instead of just letting Star Trek be Star Trek. I don't want another decade of that. I was happy it was over. It was an interesting experiment. It failed miserably. I was happy for Paramount to move on with someone else and make a standalone, original, good quality film for the sake of its own artistic merits, or go in another direction of doing another series of films with someone else, another studio, or just have Paramount just do it themselves and not go through someone else. But so it scares the hell out of me, the idea that they might get back in bed with JJ and we might have another decade of JJ films, a whole nother trilogy of JJ films. Because the first one was okay as an origin film, as a setting everything up and warming up the audience and getting the normies in. That was fine. But the second film was a disaster. It tried to be Wrath of Khan but didn't. And everyone hated it so much they didn't go back for the third film. It lost money. It was okay, but still they crashed the Enterprise. That's not what I want to see. When I go see a Star Trek film, I want to actually be on the Enterprise, flying through space, exploring, having some adventure, not crashing down to Earth and struggling and slumming it through a bunch of Canadian backlots. That's not my idea of a big budget, exciting Star Trek movie, and that's all I see us getting more of from JJ. So I hope this doesn't happen. I want there to be another Star Trek film, but I don't want another JJ film. I don't want more JJ-verse. I don't think anyone does. Anyone who loves Star Trek, I don't think they want this. So let's just hope this is just PR. They're just trying to get some talk in the media about a new J.J. Abrams Star Trek film, because that had some cachet before people saw them. And I just hope this doesn't happen. I hope a film happens eventually, but when they've got a new production team in place who can actually do a Star Trek film, not just make a Star Wars film with Star Trek's name on it and Star Trek characters. I could complain and complain forever. There's so little information. We just know they've put it on the schedule, and supposedly Trek Movie has confirmed that it's going to involve J.J. Abrams. That's not in the official statement. That's not in the release schedule. No one else has gotten that bit of information. So whether they made it up to make JJ happy, because they do a lot of things to make JJ happy, so they get all the scoops and things. They sell Star Trek out, for the scoops, like some other people from other organisations I won't mention. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Does this spell disaster? Or, I don't see any other options. Thanks, bye.